Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional. We are a podcast that dives into the stories of people's lives, everyday people like you and me, or even famous people throughout history. We'll talk about TV shows, movies, books, anything where stories are involved. But it doesn't stop there. We want to get you, the listener, involved as well. So if you have a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. So until then, strap in. It's story time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. In the red corner, weighing in at 4 inches, but sometimes can get it up to 6. We have the Doom of Doomside, the King of the Ring, otherwise known as the Minister of the Bad Touch, with a professional dating record of 26 dates, with 10 being satisfied. We have Ryan A. Hugh.
I'd like to know where you source your information. Out of 26. Satisfied. And that includes my left and right hand.
And his opponent coming in 4 inches, sometimes gets to 7. Man of the mountain, the stubborn moon, the mule of tomorrow, otherwise known as the man who hates fun, coming in at a professional record of 10 first dates, no second dates, and no third dates, J.A. Bryden.
Thank you.
Wow. I don't think I've ever had an entrance like that before. That was amazing.
Welcome, everyone.
I can say that I'm officially at 6 inches now, Chris. So,
Of course. Welcome. And the reason why we are talking about that is because today is, of course, the 69th episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional.
the 69th.
Yep.
I remember many years ago now when Ryan and Jamie first came to me and they said, "We've just discovered something incredible, Chris. One time we were bored and we just fell into a position on the bed and it was amazing." And I said, "Look, as great as that sounds, you didn't invent that. I'm sorry. I think the French did. They invented all those things." But Jamie was certain. Jamie said, no. This has never been done before. Me and Ryan are the first. I still think that's disputed, but you know what? I doff my hat to the ingenuity of spirit.
I love the
of
way
these
that
two fine gentlemen.
I love the way that you replaced Ryan with yourself in that scenario.
We've invented something else, Jamie, but we're not talking about the Spoon Twizzler yet. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about our special move. We will get to that on a separate podcast. Okay.
All right. Okay.
That is a special move, and we'll get to that later. But obviously, we are here talking about. Actually, I have a direct actual topic today, but we are here talking about all things stories, true, fictional. But first, before we get into the rigmarole of it all, Ryan, how are you tracking today, and how are you surviving knowing that Vince McMahon is no longer creating the matches for your beloved wrestling?
Well, I mean, I'm actually surviving. It's been fantastic. I said something to Steph the other day that I never thought I would ever say again. I'm actually enjoying WWE more than AEW. Triple H has brought back several of the Vince McMahon cuts of good wrestlers where they don't fit the Vince McMahon mold, which is massive and big and have big boobs that he can sexually harass. So it's actually been quite good. He's brought some of the wrestlers that I used to like who Vince decided just didn't fit the mold to cut. He's brought them back in 2 weeks. And I watched SummerSlam Foxtel's putting the wrestling pay-per-views on for free, which is awesome. Thank you, Foxtel. I'm actually enjoying WWE the most at the moment over the last 2 weeks. So, yeah.
And so life is obviously coming up roses for you.
Yeah, pretty much at the moment. They're going really well. Yeah, can't complain.
As we all know, does in fact like a little bit of the wrestling. Now, Jamie, how are you going today, sir? How are you dealing with everything? What is on your mind?
Not much. My mind's pretty blank at the moment. Just
as always,
enjoying life.
As always. Have you continued more of watching The Sandman?
No, I think it's only the first 4 episodes I've watched when we watched it together the other day. I have been, rewatching a bit of Community for a bit of a laugh. But yeah, that's about it. Nothing amazing or incredible happening in my life.
Nothing amazing or incredible. Now, you as a non-comic fan,
non-comic fan,
or a fan of the I guess source material, how did you find the first 4 episodes of The Sandman? You coming from an, I guess you call it a quote unquote outsider.
Well, I know nothing about Sandman at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting Sandman pause and then commentary from Chris and Michael going, forgive me because I know nothing. If this is a stupid question, this could be a stupid question, but is that the devil? Look, it was well put together. It made me sit up and go, please tell me more.
Now, did it make you sit up because the actor decided to whisper everything and you had to sit up and lean into close to hear it? Basically, because the actor just went, I am the Sandman. Would you like me to continue the scene?
I'd say that'll be a little bit of part of it, but then that's just the acting. It's pulling you in because you can't hear him properly.
He did a fantastic job.
Are you saying the actor that plays Sandman went to the Sam Worthington School of Whisper Acting?
No. This is beyond that. I say that I am now certain there was hundreds of interviews of all these actors going in there with amazing scenes. This guy had a cold, came in there on the first day and went, hello. I'm sorry, I can't. And they went, yep, that's it. That's him. That's him. Yep. No. Yep. No. Tell everyone to fuck off.
And bringing it around to today's topic, like that episode of Friends when Joey really, really has to pee and he's auditioning for Jeff Goldblum. He's like, yes, you've got it. You've got it.
But still, I look again. They've deviated again. It's always Did they deviate quite a bit from the source material in some areas? Yes, but they've tried to keep it true as much as they can to the themes of it all. So again, I can't complain. I thought they did a fine job of casting. But other than that, I'm enjoying it. Episode 5 was boring as hell, but I've been sort of pushing myself through. I had to really push myself through that one.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the Hell episode?
No, that was episode 4, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, no. Also, the Hell episode was episode 4.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I just couldn't remember how many we saw.
That's fantastic. But the one after that was, I was like, the diner scene. Yeah. Anyway,
I was going to say that if the Hell episode was boring as hell, then it would have been pretty funny because that would have been a good representation of hell.
That would be. Ryan, have you picked up The Sandman yet? Or started watching?
Not yet. No, it's my next thing to jump into. I actually was telling Jamie yesterday. I finally got through Resident Evil on Netflix.
Now, how is that?
Yeah, you know what? I was reading some of the complaints. I enjoyed it. I really did, because it's more about the lore and the history of Umbrella. And I think I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that runs the Continental in John Wick.
Yes,
someone or other. He plays Albert, like a racially swapped Albert Wesker. Which is I really it suffered from first episode lull. Now, because I say that because there's no zombies in the first episode, because it's true, they're setting the scene. They're setting it's for people who don't know anything about Resident Evil.
Now, the crazy thing about what you just said is they looked at Resident Evil. They looked at all the wackiness and let's focus on the story of all the things to focus on. It's like going, that seems like the wrong thing to focus the
To be honest with you, I mean, I've been a fan. I'm a fan of the games. I've seen all the movies multiple times. You're exactly right. They're all wacky. They don't bother with too much into the story. But this one I actually enjoyed because they did. They sort of go in. They show how Umbrella was created and how it moved. Because it's essentially takes place in two timelines.
Oh, okay.
There's one timeline where it focuses on Albert Wesker's two daughters. Now it's straight up. There's they're surrogates, so they basically just stole some woman's eggs, and that's how they do things in Umbrella.
Of course.
And then the other timeline is when it's 25 years later, when the zombie outbreak has contained the world, and you've got all these rival factions that are fighting against Umbrella, kind of like the Resistance. Which I think is what made it pretty interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. People's complaints were exactly what you just said. It wasn't wacky Resident Evil that we're used to.
I mean, the love of Resident Evil to me is playing the game, counting out how many health items I had, big health healing items and small health healing items. Then having my NPC go, "Oh, you're a little hurt. Let me use your big health item on you." And then running from my own NPC saying, "Get the fuck away from me with that. You piss off," and shooting at the poor woman as she was trying to kill me, because the most terrifying outcome of any game was me running as Christopher Redfield running from my own NPC as she was trying to kill me because she was going to waste all my good health items on a small cut. That, to me, is but I mean, even the earlier games, the idea of basically going, do I want ammo or do I want to live?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, look, I recommend it. It's different, and that's what I was hoping for.
How is Ella Banksia, the British tall lass? She was like, I think she's one of the main characters. How was her performance?
Very good. 100%. Very, very good.
Because I'm a fan of hers.
There's no wokeness as well. No wokeness at all. There's zero wokeness.
Wish I could say the same about Sandman on that sentence, but you know.
Me and Jamie were talking yesterday, and he said that the wokeness in Sandman is kind of, here it is, it's done. Now let's get back to.
But then he didn't get to episode 5.
I've only watched 3 episodes.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, he didn't get to episode 5, which was woke of the episode, and then, other than that, though, once I get past 5, like again, there's about 20 minutes at the end of 5, which is excellent. Which I was like, oh, it's phenomenal. I was going, but that episode was also pointless then because I could have skipped everything in that episode, but the last 20 minutes and still because I was basically like going skip.
Well, I mean, one thing that intrigued me is and when Jamie brought it up yesterday is the whole idea of Constantine and how it's a distant relative, like a distant descendant.
Yep, because it's the comic book brand. Is it Vertigo? That's the brand. So it's DC-ish.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of DC crossover, which is, I think this is why a lot of people were initially annoyed at the casting of Satan, where they didn't actually use, because they had Satan and Mazikeen.
Okay.
And it wasn't, from the show Lucifer. And I was like going,
yeah, that's what I told Jamie. I said that's the Lucifer that we've seen in the show. Yeah. Lucifer is the one they're referring to from.
But the cast a woman who looked very similar to Mazikeen, and I was going, if why don't you just fucking do it? Whatever. Again, having said that, the woman who played Lucifer still did a great job. Brianna Tarth from Game of Thrones, I thought she did a fantastic job in terms of the role. I thought it was great. I was more annoyed about the death casting because they went from sort of like this sort of, I guess, shyish, I guess that the sort of like goth girl to being like to her being more, I guess, assertive and more sure of herself, and to me it just seemed like an odd choice to switch to really sort of alter her character that much. But again, apart from again some small gripes there, everything else was great. Everything else has been fantastic so far. So
Okay. No, I'm looking forward to starting it. It's definitely got me intrigued, but I was kind of like I just was trying to leave it as long as I could because I was concerned because I do love Neil Gaiman's Sandman so
exactly.
much.
Yeah. So again, look, if nothing else, that the casting of Sandman saves the show because of how well that was cast by Mr. Whispers.
I mean, the guy that plays Sandman himself is pretty much. It looks like he's just been lifted off the pages of the comic.
Yeah, and I was saying they had to find the skinniest British. As Jamie said, they had to find the skinniest British actor they could find, and then get him to lose 10 pounds, and then basically go, "You will not get sandwiches for the rest of this shooting. You will get this. These are your 3 carrot sticks. Now you can decide when you will eat these carrot sticks through the 3 months of shooting, but you get 3."
Yeah, no, I will check it out, and I'm going to be watching it before we come back for the next episode. So I'll give you my thoughts.
I think it'll be good because again, it's been a while since I've read the comic. I've actually more sort of like I read the novels. I was also more reading the novel adaptation, which I thought was again
which is really great,
very fantastically done. So then I was just there was a lot of things there. I was going, you could have gotten this actor instead of that one, but again. I like this. It'll be good, interesting to see your thoughts on it then.
Yeah, definitely.
Going forward, but moving along, not laboring on the point. Jamie, you had some interesting stories you wanted to share. Is that correct?
Yep. Well, I got one that I think I shared this in our chat group a week ago, but I'll bring it up again because I think it's pretty funny. Gamer spends $100,000 on leveling up Diablo character. Sues game developers when he can't find anyone else to play with at his level.
To me, look, that's hilarious. And the thing that I really like about that story is that one, that game is the most cash grabby game that has apparently ever been in existence. But the fact is that to sort of level up to become basically top tier level, that's the cost of what the developers expecting people to throw down to to level up. It's going, that's a bit insane. And look, we've all sort of accepted, which we probably shouldn't have, but we have. We've all sort of accepted microtransactions are going to be in a game. We've all sort of said, okay, that's fine. We've accepted it, and that's also our fault because we said, as a society, we said, a cost of a video game should be the same as when I bought this 16 megabit game of like Super Mario versus this, full 4K high definition open world fantasy. They should cost $60 and then nothing and not a damn cent more. Where in reality we should have said, okay, developers, fair enough. Games cost more because that's just the nature of it. So we'll pay more for the games, but don't goddamn nickel and dime us for microtransactions. We didn't. We said no. This is the price. And so they had to then find supplementary business income, which is essentially then microtransactions, game passes, season passes.
You should never have a game where you need to spend more money on it to actually have an enjoyable experience. I think that's where if you have to spend money on a game to be able to finish the story and get the complete story, that's where I draw the line. And that is why I hate MMORPGs, because I don't like playing online at all, because I refuse to. I'm one of those people who, if I'm playing a game on my iPad, I will watch the ad rather than pay the money. But in saying that, if you give me an amazing game and tell me, look, this is going to cost $130, but you're getting the full experience, I'll pay it. I'll pay $130 for the full experience. But don't EA specifically, don't give me a game and go, here, pay $70 for this. But if you want the real experience, you're going to have to double that minimum.
And there are those who will say like, oh, it's fine. They're just charging you for cosmetics. I'm going, but cosmetics matter. That really matters. So particularly if you're playing an RPG and it's going, well, your character looks like shit, but if you want it to look good, here are the items that will charge you for. It's like, going, no, piss off. I mean, well, yeah, look, those are one of my gripes. That now with this whole microtransaction bullshit game, my fear for the next Diablo game is now at an all-time high. They've promised that that it's not that kind of game, but it's a company. Do I trust this company? No. So my fear for the Diablo game that looks pretty good by all things consideration. My fear is now at an all-time high if that's going to be any good.
Sorry? Is it still Blizzard?
Yeah, it's still Blizzard.
Okay.
But by the time they release the game, it'll be Blizzard Microsoft. So it's going to be one of those, like, it's going to be, who knows what the hell they'll decide. Who knows what they'll release.
I mean, just look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, no microtransactions.
Nope.
I bought it twice because I paid for seriously, I bought it on disc. And then when I got my PS4, and then when I got my PS5, which is just the one where you download, it doesn't have a disc, I bought the director's cut for $140 because it is an amazing game. And I'm not afraid to spend the money on it. It's just, look at that. You can have a game like that. And the whole reason why I don't get into that kind of stuff.
Yep. And you're right, Ryan, about Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
And there are many other games made by the Sony studios, and look, and I guess it's somewhat fortunate, unfortunate that Sony Studios does exist, because the company has them to exist so they can make games, and they basically count those games as basically loss leaders. They'll say it's going to cost us millions of dollars to develop. We're probably not going to recover all the money back, but it's one of those things that will get people onto the system. So then that we'll take sales, but we're not going to be like, the sales is not going to drive the outcome of the game. They'll just basically be like, okay, well, it sold well, so great. If it didn't, well, we still got people onto the system.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's right. They make more money off the console than the game.
Correct. And so it's having those games with that, and unfortunately most of the developers out there, that they're independent developer companies, so they have to make as much money as humanly possible in each game. So this is a scenario, and if we had accepted the higher price, we would have been better for it. But like the consumers we said 16 megabits of graphics, and your modern console with 4K native resolution, that's the same cost to develop. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm almost confident. Yeah, no. All right, Jamie, next story.
You may have heard about this, but did you know in the early 90s, Pepsi owned 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer, all because of a deal with the Soviet Union in which they exchanged soda for military equipment.
I did not know. But I have to. What did they do with those items?
It doesn't say. They probably just put them in someone's yard. Or
can you see the ad now? Like, I can just see Vladimir Putin in a submarine, ready to press the button. Then he looks at the camera with a Pepsi and goes, "Pepsi," and then pushes the button, and it blows up a country.
Well, that is the perfect ad, Ryan, for Pepsi.
Yeah.
You can think of this. You show this giant war room, and you basically have all these generals moving around like missiles, and then they say they turn to him and go like, "But Mr. President, the Americans have crossed the border. Well, what do we do?" And he just turns around, puts his sunglasses, and goes, "Fire all the nuclear missiles." And then he cracks open the can and goes, "To the max."
Oh, I love it.
And then you'll show them basically him ending the world, and it'll be like going. Then the song will be like going, "Pepsi to the max." Nuclear apocalypse brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah.
Outstanding. I think there's huge missed opportunity in marketing for them not to be like they just. I mean, I'd appreciate that kind of marketing. I'm not sure about anyone else.
Oh, I agree. Maybe that was the plan all along, and it just fell through.
But maybe Pepsi was arming up for their eventual war against Coke. Maybe
Yeah.
they maybe maybe like the grand old lion, Coca-Cola's gotten complacent whilst Pepsi's been stockpiling, building up their arsenal so they can so basically there'll be a CEO forum where like the CEO of Pepsi will come on stage and he'll be like and he'll be all dancing and he'll be like being a hip CEO, and then he'll stage and then a choreographed dance time. He basically going, soft drinks is just one of the things of our company, what we do. We have now branched out into private military organization. We are now officially a private registered military organization. And then, we're a weapons manufacturer. Please introduce to me what I like to call the generation of Iron Man suit. And then,
Look at the War Machine suit from Iron Man 3. That's pretty much Pepsi colors anyway.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's.
And they could do it in the US marketing. Goes, what are the colors on the American flag? Red, white, and blue. What other colors have that? Pepsi Cola.
Well,
Yep.
Coke claims Santa, so
Yeah.
Coke claims Santa. Pepsi should develop weapons and build us Iron Man suits and claim that, and that'll be the next generation of warfare brought to you by Pepsi.
But now, okay, this might be a long play, but you know how if you've been bad, Santa leaves you cold?
Yep.
Do you think Pepsi should have coal-powered weaponry and then all be bad, so Santa leaves them cold? Therefore, Santa and Coke are funding Pepsi's war efforts.
No. Even better. This will be the ad. They'll have a shot of some like fancy, and then he'll be on the plane. He'll pick up his can of Pepsi and he'll turn to the camera and say, "When people are bad, Santa sends them cold." He takes a sip. He clicks his fingers. He gets up. The suit assembles around him. When people are bad on Pepsi's watch, we send them something entirely different. And then you see him jump out, and he flies down. You see the typical squad of Taliban-style terrorists, and then he starts like firing upon them and raining death from above. And it's like Pepsi,
followed by the American flag falling down behind him.
Mm-hmm. This. I don't know. Again, the more I think about it, the fact that Pepsi haven't gone into R&D for weaponry is just to me is insanity. I mean,
didn't a car company do it, like Daihatsu or something?
Daewoo, yes. So Daewoo in Korea basically went, we're no longer doing cars, we're doing weapons, and they've made tons of amazingly good weapons and stuff. So I mean. Yeah. Why not? Why have we not have these bold companies to go screw our our humble origins? We're making weapons.
Oh,
don't be afraid to reach out, guys. Branch out.
Branch out. Imagine the branding of think of the branding opportunities.
Oh man, that's
like a Commonwealth Bank nuclear power plant, or
even though just Commonwealth Bank weaponry. Imagine tanks.
That'd be awesome
with the color scheme.
Because they'd be riding into battle, and they go, "Oh no, it's coming! What's coming? The bank." Which bank?
Oh, that would be yes. So I think we've all decided that Pepsi from now on should switch from its soft drink division to weapons manufacturing.
I also think Dr. Pepper should do something too.
No, Dr. Pepper sounds like more like they're going to go into biological warfare.
Oh, so Pfizer will
Actually, no. Dr. Pepper. We're going to reshoot Captain America, but instead, the scientist will be Dr. Pepper, and the syrup, the super soldier serum will be Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
He's a doctor after all, so I'd imagine that's not. I imagine that's not.
No,
I imagine
no more
that's not
Dr. Erskine, Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, exactly. They're going. The serum will makes the good man great. I think that I think that'd be fine if it was a can of just a soft drink can, with arms and legs.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Sounds good.
All right, Jamie. Any more stories before we
No,
commence?
that's it. That's it. I'm done.
Outstanding. Well done. Well, let us go on to our main segment of the evening. This is something that we've discussed in terms of things that we wanted to do. Ryan suggested that we sort of talk about sitcoms. We've decided that our conversations of sitcoms and comedies should be a battle royale of 32 of the most influential sitcom/comedies go head to head and see who these three humans here, determine the overall champion.
Absolutely. No bias at all.
These 32. No bias at all, because again, there's three of us, so it has to be a majority vote. So then there'll be no bias. How we determined the 32 was a very simple formula. I looked up the most influential series and classified them into several different categories. One was pure just ratings in terms of overall viewership. One was cultural icon in terms of is the series well remembered? Is it fondly remembered? Another thing, another strong factor was did it launch someone into basically the next stratosphere? So essentially, whilst the show might not have had many seasons, the fact that it was huge influencer that it made someone's career, that was obviously another factor.
So like for example, Mork and Mindy, Robin
Mork
Williams,
and Mindy,
kind of, yeah.
Very small number of seasons, but without that, there's no Robin Williams. So again, this is the concept. And then obviously we had, often do sitcoms now try to steal these shows, these ideas from these shows.
Yeah.
There were some shows that were ruled out because the lead actor had unzippy problems, and so we did not include those shows. Which was a damn shame, because god damn it, that was but we'll digress. But we found /comedies that we believe that were fairly influential. I'll just quickly read through, and these were in the rankings that we have in 1, 2, and then obviously we'll go through the bracket, and we'll go through the rules. Now, also, every single one of us had a wild card entry. Where we one comedy series that did absolutely not meet the criteria that we just spoken about, but we then had it inserted anyway. Jamie chose Scrubs, obviously unmistakably. That was I think that was a no-brainer. Ryan chose, I believe, Ryan, from memory, it was The Office, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yep, Office. And I chose Parks and Rec. Series that whilst didn't meet all the categories necessary, so we had to sort of just sneak them in on what we call through the wild card system. But let's quickly run through the series. We have in ranked order: I Love Lucy, MASH, Happy Days, Beverly Hillbillies, Mork and Mindy, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Chappelle Show, Full House, Seinfeld, Cheers, Frasier, Roseanne, Home Improvement, Friends, Spin City, The Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, The Nanny, Parks and Rec, The Office, Everybody Loves Raymond, Golden Girls, Fawlty Towers, Will and Grace, Keel and Peele, How I Met Your Mother, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Married with Children, Scrubs, Modern Family, and Dahmer and Greg. There was a lot that's been left off on that list, but it was extremely hard to narrow it all down. We have then put them up onto a bracket, which I believe Jamie will be posting as well online, so you can all see the bracket. The rules are simple. It's 1v1. Majority vote wins. So you need 2 votes to pass. Now, every single one of us has one, what I like to call the Jamie veto. And the reason why I call it the Jamie veto is because you can have one of these things where you can say, well, I don't care about any of the facts and situational things and thing. I like it, and I like what I like. And so this would give you an automatic win. But we each have one. It doesn't necessarily have to be used upon your favorite show, but you only have one, so use it sparingly. Now,
can we make a rule that we can't use it in the final round? Because then it's simply...
I'm not going to make that rule because I don't. Because once you go through the bracket, as you look at the bracket, Ryan, I have your shows are
Tough.
Getting to the final rounds with your show. If you can save that veto on your favorite show to the end, well done. Because geez, it's gonna be tough to get out of the early rounds, I think. All right, let us commence. Left side of the bracket. Let us start with the first seed versus the 32 seed. I Love Lucy versus Dharma and Greg. I Love Lucy, as we all know, the historical show, one of the first shows with a female lead character, one of the first shows with an ensemble cast where there was multiple protagonists in the shows, one of the first shows that had that situational humor and comedy, one of the first shows to have an interracial couple that headline an entire TV series. One of the shows that where these sitcoms started to influence how people saw their lives and how people sort of functioned. An absolute pinnacle show in terms of comedy, and many of the great shows of sitcoms that we watch today are standing on the backs of I Love Lucy. Up against Dharma and Greg. Oh, damn, poor Dharma. I'm so sorry. Dharma and Greg, a sitcom about a fancy pants lawyer with fancy pants family who gets drunk and marries a hippie. It ran for, I think it was 2 seasons, but also
5 seasons.
5 seasons.
Yep.
That's longer than longer than I thought. But classical show about fish out of water, that stuffy lawyer in his fancy shirts and shaking his reality with this free-flowing hippie family. And you watched as they sort of went through their lives, again, very situational humor, but they had, again, a fantastic ensemble cast. Greg's parents were one of my I think one of my favorite actors because there have been so many other great comedy series. But then one of the funniest things in that entire show, I still remember it as now, laugh at where I was honestly in stitches, was when Dharma made Greg put on a southern accent. And then at the golf club store when he was buying his clubs, and just because he thought it was really, because she thought it was funny, and he walked up to the store person, the clerk, and goes, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a naan on? Can you please show me where the naan-ons are?" He's like, "What? The naan? I need my naan-on, sir." Then he goes, "Damn Yankee!" And then the appointed judge of New York, district attorney judge, came by, who also was from South, who then obviously then goes, "Good to see another Southerner out here living in New York. I hate when people make fun of our accent because it's a pride and belief." They had to pretend he was from the South to keep his job. It was fantastic. Again, classic, but funny.
Yeah, I've seen that in a few different sitcoms, that pretending to be.
Yeah. But I believe this is one of the.
Tony, you're insinuating that sitcoms steal each other's ideas?
Or not at all.
But ironically, Dharma and Greg came out in 97, and the show that I first saw that kind of joke in came out in 96. But I think that's just it's like one of those things. How there was what was it? There was Olympus Has Fallen came out.
Yeah.
And then the same year, White House Down came out.
White House Down, yeah.
And obviously, they didn't rip it off each other. It just happened. It just happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, let us cast your votes. As much as I love Dharma and Greg, I'm sorry, I Love Lucy has my vote due to one, cultural influence, and just being the first of everything, and being almost the father or mother of the modern sitcom.
Yeah.
So I Love Lucy has my vote. Jamie, what say you for the vote?
I second that vote, definitely.
Unfortunately, that means Ryan. What is your vote?
What was your vote?
My vote was for Dharma and Greg because I Love Lucy's a piece of shit.
Oh,
I cannot stand Lucille Ball. I
Mm.
cannot stand that show. I love Thomas Gibson, who played Greg in Dharma and Greg. He's one of my favorite TV actors. So
Hey,
I
Criminal
say
Minds, he
fuck
did
you, I
fantastic
Love
on. He did
Lucy.
fantastic on.
But I'm not using a veto because I'm saving that bad.
Saving that. All right. From the
Um,
first bracket, I Love Lucy moves on. Moving on to
Are
the
you
middle
keeping a re-
seed.
You're keeping a record of this, aren't you, Chris?
Sure, why not?
Otherwise,
Because I'd like to see it. We're doing all this, and then at the end of it, doesn't keep a record, and his ones just win.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what we said.
Oh, come now. Next one, we have The Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men. I did not work the seat. I did the seating out. Didn't realize that the man
This is a
the
hard
shows go up against each other.
This is a hard one.
2.5 Men. Charlie basically Charlie being his Charlie self. Letting in his brother and his nephew stay over. What 12 to 14 years of hijinks shenanigans in terms of some classic characters, some classic scenes. It gave us a young Megan Fox.
It did.
Oh, gee, yeah. Anyway, versus The Big Bang Theory, the show about science nerd living across the hallway from a hot girl named Penny, and it gave the rise to the rise of Sheldon Cooper, an extremely influential figure from both one, classical lines, Bazinga. We've all those lines.
Penny. That was my iconic thing.
Yep.
I still do that. I'd still do that to this day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I still do it. As I'm walking. Yeah.
Again, both shows have their merit.
Mm-hmm.
That show, but the reason why I think Big Bang made it on that list is because Jim Part, like the guy who plays Sheldon Cooper, has been in other things, but this is the role that really this role made him not have to act ever again if he doesn't want to, because of the amount of money that he's now making from royalties.
And he has done a few movies since, and he's been really well in them. He's not a lead role, but just he's a really good supporting actor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
A fantastic series, but there can only be one, as the Highlander would say. So I'll start with you, Ryan. Ryan, where do you cast your vote?
Well, I mean, this is a tough one because I have actually seen every episode of both of these shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I do love both of these shows because for different reasons. Because 2.5 Men, I mean, Charlie Sheen at his finest, whether he was hopped up on cocaine or what, he was still an amazing actor. I'm going to give it to Big Bang Theory because it came at a time where I related to it more because yes, I was even though we were in bands and stuff, but I felt like it was finally a show where I could go, yes, I've done that, or yes, I've done that. You know what I mean? Like I related to it a lot more. So even though they're both amazing shows, Big Bang just took the cake because it was a relatable show for me at the time. And it kept its original cast all the way through, which
and that's very, very hard to do.
I didn't like the Ashton Kutcher when he took over Charlie Sheen's role in 2.5 Men. I really didn't like that, even though I stuck with it because I'd made the commitment. But Big Bang Theory, 12 seasons, the same main cast, which is great.
Jamie?
Second that. I swear I'm just not agreeing. I'm not agreeing with the first person, but yeah, no, Big Bang Theory. Like, I never finished Big Bang, but
I did, and I have to say the reason why actually I like the show, and the reason why I'm going to third this one is it boldly did something that sitcoms hate to do. Penny and Leonard got together, got married, and at the end of the series, were happy.
And it happened quite quickly too when they initially got together. It's not like they dragged it out like it's and I love How I Met Your Mother, but it's not like that we waited 10 seasons to see it. It happened around season 2 or something.
Yep, correct. More so, every single character in that series showed character development.
Mhm.
They actually weren't just the one-line jokes they were from the beginning of the season, and then towards the end, spoilers for you, Jamie, when Sheldon wins the Nobel Prize, when he stands on the stage, when he basically does his acceptance speech, he talks about his love, the love of his friends who helped him get to where he is now. And it was this really amazing moment because you look at the Sheldon initially, who, you know, that's my spot. I don't want any friend. They're like basically the Jamie Bryan of the group. Sort of, but basically become, sort of realize that, his strengths were the fact that he's was with other people, and it shows a really interesting dynamic, which again most sitcom writers don't know how to do, which is basically a male-female platonic friendship between Sheldon and Penny, where it wasn't like every single time you do male friendships in most comedies, they go, oh, but there's some sexual tension underneath there. So this one, no, this was just they were friends. She was trying to help him out, and he was a dick, but but it was still a very well crafted. It was it's a well crafted relationship, fantastically done.
I also think it was great to watch, and just something else to point out: both sitcoms were created by the same person.
Of course, that's why it's unfortunate.
2.5 Men was created by Chuck Lorre. Big Bang was created by Chuck Lorre as well. But one thing that I really enjoyed is watching Sheldon, and I can't remember for the life of me what her name was, but Sheldon and Amy
Farrah Fowler.
Amy Farrah Fowler, that's right. Just seeing their relationship and seeing how it grew over, I would say, the last 8 or 9 seasons, and how exactly what you were saying about Sheldon, how he was so closed off, and he's like, I'm not going to ever have a relationship and everything. And then just to see how he opened up and how she brought out, and that, hands down. Yeah.
And it's funny, like, because she was from another popular sitcom, that actress.
Yeah. Yes, she was.
Didn't make the list, though.
Johnny, the guy who played Leonard Hofstadter was from another sitcom we're going to talk about later on, from Roseanne. So,
Yep.
There you go.
Right, moving on. Full House versus Key and Peele. Full House, the series based on a widowed father, Danny Tanner, who enlists his brother-in-law and his childhood best friend Joey to help raise his 3 daughters. This gave birth to, well, I mean, let's be honest, like, if you look, think people that we like, John Stamos, Bob Saget, I mean, and to some degrees, the Olsen twins.
But it probably their sister got jealous of their actress acting, and then went, screw it, I'm going to be in the MCU.
Yeah, so basically giving us the Olsen twins gave us Elizabeth Olsen, which gave us then Scarlet Witch, which again, that's... I guess you call that.
It gave us the most annoying character of Kimmy Gibbler in the entire world as the best friend of one of the daughters. She was just the most.
Versus Keelan Peele, and this basically the reason why this one made it on the list was because it birthed both Keelan Peele in terms of it launched them into the stratosphere. They're now off making their millions of dollars in their movie, the directorial career, so this had to be on the list. Skit comedy, one of the few skit comedy shows that I think made it on there, and they had some absolute classic classic skits. Hilarious all the way through. The Obama ones,
it's unparalleled. It cracks me up every time I watch it. I recently rewatched season 1, and there was an episode where it was set back in the World War II, and they were white-faced it up because they were trying to convince the Nazis that they
that was and the crazy thing that had Phil.
Phil from Modern Family,
from Family Guy,
as an SS officer.
Yeah, he's going. No, I hear they like the keys. There's Jimmy the keys in front of them, and it was honestly, I was almost like the whole dying of like going how wrong, but also how funny it was.
I know that's right. You don't know. It's one of those things where you're like, I kind of feel bad laughing, but it's just so damn funny.
Yeah. Oh, great. All right, we are now clear to the vote. Jamie Bryan, what say you?
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be a little bit biased and go for Full House.
Full House.
Grew up on it. Strong staple in the household.
Ryan?
Look, as much as I love Key and Peele, and I especially love Jordan Peele's work in, I mean, his horror movies at the moment are some of my favorite ones. I'm still to see the new one, Nope, that's just come out. This was an easy one. It's Full House because, again, I grew up on it. You got talents like John Stamos, you got Bob Saget. I mean, seriously, like, if to know what kind of comedian Bob Saget is, and for the ability for him to play the straight edge dad, some of his comedy is just the foul mouth.
Yeah, he's playing the straight edge to everyone else's insanity, and
no, Full House, I have to say, wins it hands down.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's an easy one, I think. Actually, no, it's hard, but in the end of the day, I think the legacy of Full House, I think, lives on a little bit stronger.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, the Beverly Hillbillies versus Married with Children. The Beverly story. I believe they tell us the story every single time that the introduction. Up from the grounds of the bubbling crude oil, that is.
Story about a man called Jed who struck oil and
versus Married with Children, a show about a dreadfully unhappy man who's still married despite the fact that he's dreadfully unhappy. But again, that's part of the charm of the show.
100%.
Now, even to me, even the opening credit is funny, where he's basically like people come to him in the first, he doesn't even catch, his hands them money. The dog comes up, he hands the dog money. The dog takes the money and runs off. His wife comes up and she just hands the money. Again, it's fun. Honestly, it's funny, and it's one of the ones I really liked watching as a kid. Beverly Hillbillies, it had really one song influential. There was also some movies that were made from it that weren't in fact terrible. They were not the worst things in the universe in terms of a remake. So
the only thing I remember from the Hillbillies remakes is the granny on top of the car and the rocket ship.
It's getting knocked off every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of a vote, I believe I will start this one off, and unfortunately, I will have to go with Married with Children, because Al Bundy, Ed O'Neill, great actor, lived movement to one family, Katie Siegel, Peggy, who then obviously moved on to Sons of Anarchy.
She was amazing in that. Like, seriously,
Christina Applegate from all fucking places. So to me, I have to go with Married with Children. Ryan, what say you?
Yeah, look, I'm going to agree. Just for my favorite line from all of TV comes from Married with Children, and it walks down the stairs. Oh no, Peggy comes back from a holiday, and Al's just sitting there, hands down his pants. And she walks in and she goes, "Al, did you miss me?" And he said,
"With every bullet so far."
Cemented. And to be honest with you, Modern Family is one of my all-time favorite shows as well. The fact that the man can do, I like to call it the Dave Grohl effect. He can go from one amazing sitcom that lasted for a long time, take a few years off, do a few movies, and then come into another sitcom, which was just as successful, if not more, for 11 years. 100%. Married with Children.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No, I will agree, and only because I have more memories of Married with Children and the theme song coming on and the
love and marriage, love and marriage.
I love that theme song. Oh, all right. Now we get to the real meat and potatoes of it all.
I actually physically hate you for this because you put the show, one of my all-time favorite shows, two of my all-time favorite shows in the one bracket.
This one again, I seeded ranked them, and then the system per college basketball puts the seeds against each other. And unfortunately, because Office came in on a wild card, it was going to go up against a strong seeded first round team.
Yep.
We have Home Improvement Tim the Toolman Taylor, the
Yep.
birth of Wilson, the man we never saw the face of.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor, birth of his career.
Yep.
Absolutely iconic series. And from a rating standpoint, I was looking at the numbers for a long period of time when it was on. There were no show. There were basically shows running away from its time slot because it's basically going. People in America are going to watch Home Improvement, and then if you have a show opposite of that, I'm so sorry, you're just not going to get watched.
So what you're saying is it was the MCU of sitcoms.
When I was looking at highest rated TV programs, apart from the Super Bowl, which is one of the highest, the next a show that actually made onto that list of highest rated TV shows in America in terms of a single episode was Home Improvement. So like, I was like,
and again, it's another one that I still use. I don't think so, Tim. Pretty much every single day of my life.
I don't think so, Tim.
I mean, that just that one line. I mean, there's so many lines from that, but just having what was it? I forget his last name, but Tim's Offsider.
Oh yes, yep.
Every episode. And you got to remember that also launched Pamela Anderson too when she
that Tillman. Yeah, that's right.
She was in the first 3 or 4 seasons.
Yep, she was like, you know what time it is? Tool time. That was fantastic. Oh man, again, I can't. I mean, Tim Allen's career from that point went on to the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Buzz Lightyear and
Buzz Lightyear. Last Man Standing, which that's
an amazing show.
This didn't make the list, and I still I'm hurt, but it just. I only had one wild card, and I couldn't put Last Man Standing in, or else it would have been Last Man Standing because that show just speaks to me. That show gets me. That show just gets.
I'm so glad that came on Disney Plus because I used to download. That was one of the shows that I used to download every week because it was guaranteed to make me absolutely crack up. It's so good.
And then we have The Office.
This is like almost impossible,
I know,
again,
right?
Mifflin Paper Company, and Steve Carell did an amazing job. He realized that Ricky Gervais's performance you can't do again. There's only one Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
and that's what made this show so successful. They didn't try and copy Ricky Gervais
because Ricky Gervais made every scene painful.
Exactly.
Watching it hurt. And you just were going, you basically look at the guy going, shut up, stop talking. But that level of pain can only be Ricky Gervais could have done that. And if Steve Carell tried it, as great as he is, he couldn't get that. He couldn't bring that level of just watching someone go, just stop, please stop talking, please stop talking, please stop talking. Like that.
He had moments. There was a lot of moments where I was sitting there because I recently did a rewatch, and I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ! Like it's just like Michael, just shut up, up now.
Oh yeah, Diversity Day.
Yeah. Diversity Day, the Chris Rock impression. We can't even repeat because it's insanely racist.
Yep. But that show did. But Office America gave us Jim and Pam, John Krasinski. It gave us some. Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. So
we didn't have Super if we didn't have.
It gave us all again.
Yeah. This is like literally the important. I'm this close to going and getting a coin and just flipping for it.
Oh, all right, guys. Now, Ryan.
It's The Office.
Are you using your veto card on this one early?
No, because there's a couple of other shows that I will fight for harder. But I'm just gonna say, like, Home Improvement was insane. The Office and Home Improvement have a lot in common. There's a lot of jokes in both those shows that you couldn't do now.
Yes,
a lot of Home Improvement, a lot of that. But look, I'm going with The Office mainly because of what, as you said, the criteria at the beginning. It kickstarted so many people's careers. I know Steve Carell. I think this kind of pushed him into the movies. I can't remember the timeline exactly, but this got us the Steve Carell we now love.
We now know and love, absolutely. Yeah.
John Krasinski, do I even need to say like anything about
Mr. Fantastic?
Rainn Wilson, as I said, like I've seen him in so many Deep Blue. I didn't even realize he was in Deep Blue Sea. He was in The Meg. He was in Super, which is one of my all-time favorite movies now, by James Gunn.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go with The Office because it launched. I think it launched more careers than what Home Improvement do, and that's pretty much the only thing that I can separate.
Yeah,
it
that's the
off.
only thing you're going like.
It
Yeah.
launched more actors' careers than Home Improvement did.
Jamie,
Can you go net first? I need more time.
I mean, it's hard because Tim Allen is a genius.
look, I have to go with Home Improvement,
Oh no.
and the reason why I have to go with Home Improvement is there's one, Tim Allen, Patricia Richards, Richard Kahn, Earl Wilson. That was iconic. That whole thing of like going, will we ever get to see his face? When he even drew a painting of himself, he even painted the face. Like there was just that going over to your neighbor, getting every day, howdy ho, like how neighbor. That it was, yeah. Whilst it didn't launch as many careers in terms of just pure viewing numbers and ratings, it does crush The Office quite like handily, like destroys
it's hard because they were from different eras.
Different eras, absolutely. But this was like Home Improvement from America and Australia was a staple, like prime time show that used
It was something I remember watching every.
sat around together and watched Home Improvement.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie, you have the
Guys,
tiebreak.
Thank you for listening to Stories of True and Fictional. We'll be back. I can't do this.
No, you have to. Yeah,
You have to.
We've made the choice. Man up and do it.
Can we make it to chance?
No. Be a man
no.
And make the decision.
No. If you flip a coin, that doesn't count. You have to man up and make a decision. Home
All
Improvement or Office. Make it. Be a man.
All right, just give me a second.
And you can't eeny, meeny, miny, moe it in your head either.
I'm not, because I know how to cheat that.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I can 9 out of 10 times flip a coin the way I want to flip it. So
Okay. You go. No. Okay, Jamie.
um,
You have to make the call now, man.
all right, Office.
Yeah.
Ooh, The Office.
I'm not happy about that choice, but
Look at that. One of the plucky wild card.
I grew up on Home Improvement, so it always have a special place in my heart. But I think I tend to agree with Ryan for all the careers that came out of it, especially John Krasinski. Wonderful story with him saying like he was literally like 2 weeks. I think he was about to give up on acting. He went to Hollywood, and then his mum said, "If you don't make it in 2 years, then come home." And he passed the 2-year mark. And he said, "All right, I'm going to come home." And she says, "No, just stay a little bit longer." And then he gets the role of The Office.
And if we didn't get The Office, we would not have gotten one of my top 3 scenes in the MCU.
Yeah, yeah.
That literally is one of the few scenes that I've actually cheered for in a movie theater.
Yep.
And he never would have probably dated married, should I say, Emily Blunt. Yeah.
And we never would have got A Quiet Place, but
yeah.
All right, fair point. That one hurt. I won't
lie. It wasn't easy because I love Home Improvement.
Trust me, it hurt me more than it hurt you.
And I guarantee you that if Home Improvement was anywhere else on the board, bar one other spot, which I'm not going to mention, I will pick it hands down every time.
That honestly, when I drew the bracket up and then that one came up, I was like, that hurt. That really hurt.
I can't go against The Office because it's brought me too much fun, laughter, and happiness.
Fair enough. All right, Roseanne versus Everyone Loves Raymond. Roseanne, the story of a family versus Everyone Loves Raymond, as the title indicates, the man who lives across the road from with his mum. Both have iconic characters.
Yeah.
Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr, John Goodman. I mean, these at the time, these huge characters in terms of the sort of in terms of iconic. It was that show. It was a show that was really just sitting around this sort of working class family. You got to sort of see it all, and basically that very dry, very relatable show, very sort of relatable sense of humor. Everyone Loves Raymond show. Yeah,
like the working class person.
Working class person show. Absolutely, I think that's a great way of putting it. Then we had Everyone Loves Raymond, the story of a New York sports writer who then buys a house across the road from his parents. Hijinks ensues throughout the entire series, with the parents constantly popping over, with his older who despises but loves Raymond at the same time. Even the opening sequence when he talks to his family, and then he does it changes every single time he does an episode. He goes, not every family would defy, but as I say, everybody loves Raymond. Raymond, that launched that made people famous as well throughout. Absolutely, hugely successful at its time. All right, Jamie, since you seasoned the last one, since
seasoned the last one,
Roseanne or Everyone Loves Raymond.
Look, it's tough. I will not deny it is tough. I loved both these shows growing up, but I think purely because of the father, Everybody Loves Raymond. I remember vividly this episode where they go down to the betting track, like to bet on the horses, and there was a horse called Maria's Mouth. And he's like, no one runs like Maria's Mouth. Maria was his wife's name. And they kept winning. They kept winning all these bets from memory. But yeah, like I said, it was tough because Roseanne was pretty cool too. And correct me if I'm wrong, was Penny from Roseanne?
No,
she was from
8 Simple Rules.
Teenage Daughters. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right.
No, Elliot was from Roseanne, from Scrubs.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. We'll now go over to Ryan.
Yeah, no, it's Everyone Loves Raymond. Everybody Loves Raymond for me. Look, I mean, Brad Garrett was one of my favorite on-screen TV characters. Playing Ray Romano's brother. Just that voice, the deep voice.
Oh, yeah,
and he was a police officer too. And imagine having that voice, in the interview room. But Peter Boyle, man, seriously, he's no longer with us. But Ray's dad, he just cracked me up. He was racist. He didn't give. He just said anything. And look, to be honest with you, Roseanne, I did watch as a youngster with the family, but they did one thing with their final season, which I absolutely hated. Basically, and this is spoilers for a 20-year-old TV show, but in the last episode of season 8 or 9, unfortunately, John Goodman's character passed away from a heart attack or something like that. And then they just the last season, they just said it was all a dream. The whole season was a dream and everyone was back. And so that was poor writing for me, but no, Everybody Loves Raymond, hands down.
All right. It's an easy one then. Now let's move on to Seinfeld, the show about nothing versus Will and Grace.
Oh, God.
The show about a man who finally decides he was about to get married, comes out, hijinks ensues.
This is another really freaking hard one. I love both of these shows so much.
Yeah. Deborah Messing, Eric McCormack, and then
he was
but the star of the show, Sean Hayes, is Jack.
Yeah, just Jack.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Jack and me, Jack and Karen, their bounce off is
voice.
just now. Seinfeld. I mean, come on. It's fucking Seinfeld. It's Jerry's fucking Seinfeld, Kramer. Oh my God. I mean, you can't go. I mean, that's why it's as highly ranked as it is, because it is goddamn Seinfeld. I mean, geez, how do you? I mean, I don't need to say anything apart from it is Seinfeld, because it is Seinfeld.
Yeah,
it is Seinfeld. Now,
a show about nothing that achieved
everything.
Everything. So yeah. This is a hard one.
Look, I'll cast the first vote. I'm sorry, it has to be Seinfeld.
Do you need more time, Ryan?
No, I know my answer, and I to be Will and Grace.
Ooh.
I loved Will and Grace before I even knew I was gay myself. I absolutely loved Will and Grace. It just was Sean Hayes. Seriously, you cannot. I am disappointed this guy has not done more, because every episode he was in, which was pretty much every single one, I just absolutely cracked up, and he's over the top. insane campiness. Eric McCormack and Deborah Messing as Will and Grace was just, it's a show that I still watch to this day. And it does hold a really, really, really special place in my heart because it was something that I got to enjoy with my family. And, it was something me and my sister bonded over, which we don't really get along, but it was a show that we both loved and we both watched together. Yeah.
Now, Ryan, to secure the show's path, are you going to use your veto?
No, because there's another show that I want to use.
All right, Jamie, once again.
Thanks for listening, guys. This has been sort of no. Look, I'm sorry. I understand if you never want to see me again, Ryan, but I'm going to have to say Seinfeld.
Yep.
As I said, it's literally this much difference because Seinfeld is an amazing show too.
They're both super culturally relevant too.
Yes.
Like 100%. Will and Grace did so much, and Seinfeld is just brilliant comedy.
I mean, Seinfeld, we got George Costanza, who's one of the most iconic characters. We got Jerry Stiller as George's dad, and he still cracks up to this day. So, it's definitely, it was very hard.
Yeah.
And the final, on the left side of the round of 16, we have Mork and Mindy, the show about an alien living amongst your nanu. The show. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. I do. Ginny's great at everything, but I'm sorry. Like, is it really?
Is there a reason to do this?
Is it really a contest?
No.
No,
I couldn't care less about I Dream of Jeannie. When you've got a show that gives us Robin freaking Williams, and it was an entertaining show too.
Yeah. All I had to say was nano. Everyone's face lit up like with a smile. So I mean, sorry. Sorry,
I Dream of Jeannie. But
the fact that it spun out of Happy Days and essentially became a bigger show than Happy Days.
Yeah.
When does that ever happen?
It doesn't.
Did you guys hear about how Robin Williams got the role? Other than being Robin Williams,
I think he probably would have just improv all the way.
No, well, they invited him to. They said, "Come in, sit on the couch," and he sat on the couch upside down. Like, so just out of nowhere, like legs over and up perfectly upside down. He's like, because that's what an alien would do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't even think we need. I mean, I Dream of Jeannie, great show, great premise, but it's another one of those ones. This is an easy one to pick.
This is all right. Done, locked in. Now, Jamie, just some admin keeping. Do we have time to go to the quarters on this side?
I can't.
I think we should probably wait for next time.
I'd say wait for next time because
I
mean, I'm enjoying it. I've lost track of time, so I'm not really sure how long we've been going.
I think it's been about an hour, at least an hour 20.
All right, cool. Yep, that's fine. Very cool. All right.
But I think it's good. It's going to break it up and it's going to keep that suspense going.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
All right. The round of 16 is over. Now, I'll give you. We'll pause it right there, and I'm going to give you time, all you, to think about the next matches. Let me give you the next matches. I Love Lucy versus Big Bang Theory. Seinfeld versus Full House.
Ooh.
Married with Children versus The Office.
And
Everyone Loves Raymond versus Mork and Mindy.
And we haven't even gotten to the super duper side yet.
No. This side was the weaker side of the draft. The other side is just goddamn stacked.
100%. That's why I didn't use my veto. Like, I was happy to let Will and Grace fall through. I was even happy to let The Office fall through if Jamie didn't jump on, because there's shows on this other, and this is what you call sizzle for the next episode.
Yep.
There's shows on the other side that have done more for me than any movie ever has.
So I think next episode those are the quarterfinal matches, but I think next episode we'll go with the round of 16 tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And we'll go with the round of 16 tournament for the right side of the bracket, and again eliminates, because goddamn that's going to be brutal. Because I'm already looking at the matchups going, how the fuck do you just like again? And I hate the bracket. Because one of the shows that just snuck through on one of the final slots is going up against one of the biggest shows in the universe, but it's the show I love the most. And so I'm like, and Ryan, I think you can see what I'm looking at, which is the top spot on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
This is where the I know how you call it. I call it the Danny DeVito. This is where the vetoes come into play.
This is where the vetoes will start being.
But you notice none of us used our vetoes on the left side.
No, because I'm saving it because there's some key matches I need to get through.
Yeah. But that's what you call keeping the audience in suspense.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie, when you post this, only post the left half.
Yep. Jamie, bracket. Hello, everyone. See again. And guys, as you listen to this, if you disagree or if you agree, please write into
thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com
and let us know. And let us know if there's anything that we missed. And you know what? Let us know if there's any shows that we missed. But essentially, if you do like this form, if you do like this idea, what's next? I mean, cartoons would be for my mind something we could do. There's do we go procedural cop shows, procedural hospital shows? There's what television is a wide swath of shows available that we can discuss.
True. Very true. Before we wrap up, me and Ryan did an interview yesterday, not yesterday when you're listening to this, but yesterday when we recorded this, with a great guy called David Rockland from LA. He's an author, funny dude, and we had a lovely chat. We're interviewing another guy called Joe Matera, I think his name is, from Melbourne, a bit of a rock star who's played with some big names. So yeah, we're getting back to that as well, and it should be fun.
That sounds like it's a great set of interviews coming up. As we sign off on the glorious 69th episode, I think it's only important, it's only right that we sign off with how the show started. Jamie and Ryan, will you finally confess your love for one another? I'm sick of these sitcoms doing this will they, won't they nonsense. I want to see a resolution to this relationship. So for God's sakes, give me the resolution. Jamie, will you or will you not?
And thanks for watching. Isn't that what they do in sitcoms? They leave cliffhangers.
We've all got a freeze frame jump with our hands in the air like that.
or the awkward smiler.
And our name will come up in a little banner, and we're like, yes.
Fantastic. Well,
you will never know.
We'll find out next week. Until then, I say adieu.
Just reporting the cancellation of Stories of True and the Fictional.
Oh no!
like the ending of Pretender. Explosions. Peace out.
See you next time.